Hello and welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast with me, Rhi Bowden.
And me, Suzanne Williams. And we have a very special episode in this season with Lloyd Ashley of Livingwellwithlloydashley, who's come to speak to us today about life lessons. And we're really excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us today. Really, really appreciate you taking the time.
Definitely.
So can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself first? So for maybe some who don't know you, can you just let our listeners know?
Yeah, if I go back a little bit and then I'll come back forward.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So, fortunately enough, professional rugby player for around 15 years, went to the Ospreys as a young 16-year-old, left as a haggard 31-year-old. But during that
That's
time...
right before you, isn't it?
That's definitely, sadly, Welsh rugby even more at the moment as well, sadly. But during that time, very fortunate. Done quite a few things off field, but realised that I definitely had a passion for well-being, especially around that mental health space that we really hadn't, especially when I started probably 5-6 years ago, hadn't explored at all with men, and how we could support each other, how we could open up that conversation, and where well-being from a point of view of a total subject, but then there's intricacies in it, so talking about mental health, our physical well-being, our daily habits, our routines, how that all comes together. So yeah, I've been really fortunate over the last couple of years to spend a lot of time within that space, working through Livingwellwithlloydashley as my company, going to schools, education settings. So yeah, I've absolutely loved the journey, and I've been to some really cool places, and some places probably where no one from an outside would say it was cool, but you've been in conversations you're like, I never thought I'd be fortunate enough to be involved in these conversations and be trusted with the information people have shared with you as well. So yeah, it's been a good journey.
I mean, the podcast's called The Wellness Journey, isn't it? Because that's what me and Rhi are obviously passionate about. And we talked with Lloyd just before this as well, and to hear your passion, it's come from your journey. You can hear it. It's you're living it, breathing it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that we obviously, when we meet people, you get introduced to them by their name and their title most of the time as what they do as their job, and all of a sudden, 10, 15 minutes later, you actually find out how interesting that person is. They're not run by their title, or they didn't just be given that title as soon as they were born. They've earned it, their journey's gone in different ways. Where they are might be seen as lower as where they used to be, or it might be seen as higher as where they used to be. But the journeys are there, and that's what I love. And a lot of people obviously saying around the conversation, mental health is a really important conversation. Well, I'd go back a step further and say, no, people is a really important conversation. When we don't have to call them mental health conversations, because actually when we check in and say, how are you? The people know we really care, and that they can explain how they feel. It's not just like we do every start of every other conversation, I should say, yeah, good you.
Yeah,
I can actually be honest about it.
And
and that's where I'd like to get it to. And I remember when I set up my company about 5 years ago, one of the first interviews I'd done, somebody said to me, oh, where do you want to be in 5 years? I said, well, redundant from this. I want to have been in enough conversations, been in enough places and other people doing great work that we've collaborated together and worked together, that this conversation's irrelevant.
Absolutely.
But sadly, I don't feel it is yet.
It's expanding, isn't it? And it's growing, and it is here. We are having it.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40 years ago, there weren't even the words.
No.
We have words now, and I know my daughter has words now that I didn't have as a little girl, and that's beautiful, isn't it? Having those words to say is amazing.
And I think it's having the words to say, but having enough safe environments to be able to use those words, because in a way, knowing those words and what they mean, but not having the space to be able to articulate that or share it with a support system is worse than not having those words.
Yeah, because you know how you feel and what you want to say, but you can't say it.
You can't. And our emotions haven't changed from that point of view. Our key emotions are the same key emotions. What drives those emotions is slightly different. But so I think it's really important that we're giving space to definitely the people we really care about, but as a general society, more care in nature and how everybody we greet, giving them that more time, more support, and not just like we see it all the time, and how are you? And someone's looking at their phone as they ask you, and you're like, you don't care.
And we feel it, don't we? We know if someone is listening to us. And we find it hard to listen these days because of our attention span, because we want that hit.
45-second attention span to work with, isn't it?
It's hard, but it's lovely to hear you and to see, I've been watching what you're doing, and it's lovely to see that people just sparking from the, oh my gosh, what you say, I feel. And you say it in a way that I can understand it. That's incredible.
And being comfortable as well, like how I articulate it might not sit as well with people in the room as it does to somebody else. Like,
absolutely.
We don't have to have the right answers for everybody,
No, we don't.
but we have to be willing to try things. Like it frustrates me when someone says, that won't work for me. Well, how do you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have said years ago that the thing that was really important to me was cold water therapy. There it is. Like, I wouldn't, like, so, but if you don't experiment with those things, how are you ever going to know? So give things a try. What's the worst thing that happens in 3 weeks' time? You go, oh, no, actually, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, fine. What else are you going to try?
Yeah.
And that's important. And the other thing with the influx of information, we probably always see now the gold standard, and sometimes that will take up 2-3 hours of someone's day. And someone goes, I haven't got the time to do that. And it's like, okay, you haven't got time to do that, but instead of saying, no, I haven't got the time to do that, what can you do? Like, can you put something for 5 minutes in? Can you do something like, could you park your car 5 minutes down the road, so when you get home from work, you walk the last 5 minutes to see have a bit of fresh air and a bit of time to check in? If you work from home and your meeting finishes early, can you just, when you end the call, go outside? If you've already got 10 minutes in a day, don't just go back on emails. Like, take that 10 minutes.
It takes an intention, doesn't it?
It does.
And we have this conversation that what they say is you either make a decision when you do it, or you make a decision by not. You're still making a decision. So what decision do you want to make? And it's the difference in the future, isn't it? Easy now, hard later, or hard now, easy later.
Yeah, and I also think as well, we play it off a lot of the time as, I can't do that, I haven't got time because I got to be there for so-and-so. But then when we're there for so-and-so, we're resentful of the fact that we haven't got to do that. So that person's got 50% of you. Where actually, if you went to do it, the next time you've seen them, they'd have 100% of you, and you'd really appreciate being with them. So that intention of being where we are, and where we talk about like where our feet's on the ground, actually being, like, that does take a time saying no to certain things.
Absolutely.
Or saying yes to certain things that you're putting off for reasons, and working with people around you. Like, I'm going to change this in my routine. I think the only impact it has on you is this. Are you happy with that? Like, a lot of the time it works out. Like for me, my wife, after having children, she was like, oh, I want to get back into training. And I was like, okay, no problem at all. How do you think it's best to make it work? She's like, do you mind if I go out every morning? No. Like, happy days. I get time with my daughters now that I wouldn't have had. I'll be honest here, some mornings I'm stressed out. I'm like, oh my days, why did I say yes to her? Why did she let me go? I need her to do this, I need her to do that. But then she comes back in from the gym, she's buzzing, and I'm like, oh, it's worth it, isn't it? Like, so I think, having that balance to it, and if that didn't work, well, okay, what are we going to try next?
I think communicating our needs is a huge thing, isn't it? You just said that. I have needs as a human. Yeah. They are my needs. I have to have them met. Yeah. How can we make this work?
Yeah. And it probably takes certain time to get there as well, and to understand our needs, because a lot of the time that we don't realise that we're not facilitating our own needs. Yeah. So we don't realise why we're feeling so low at certain points, and why we're
cranky.
Like, and I always say to people, if you want to get energy, you have to give energy. So whatever that looks like. So whether it means getting showered and putting on clothes so you feel a bit better about yourself, whether it means getting out, going for a walk, whether it means going to have that conversation that you've been putting off. Like, you have to put in that energy to get energy back. It doesn't just come naturally to everybody. So it's important that we do those things as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you've given us so much information already, and we haven't even tapped into what our reason why we're here today. So season 5 is all about life lessons. So we'd love to know, what would you tell, or what advice would you give your younger self?
I'd tell my younger self, but it's going to be tough. There's going to be tough times, I think. And in the modern world, especially when we talk about well-being a lot, we think everything's going to be like happy all the time, things are going to be really positive. But actually, the way of getting to that positivity at times is going through those negative times. There's going to be hard parts of that journey. if people are putting in time for you and you can see people putting in time, they're generally worth your trust. So don't shut them off. Like,
that's a good one.
For me, like when things went wrong with my family, things were going on, I was like, well, if that's happening in my family, shut everybody else off. Doesn't matter how you act to everybody else. Just look after yourself. But actually, I've probably flipped now. I go back to giving everybody time, and then if they let you down and they let down your trust, then you go, well, yeah, I'm not going to spend any energy there. But just shut people off is quite tough as well. You realise it, but it's the easiest thing to do to protect yourself.
Absolutely.
So, but actually, for fulfillment of life, it isn't where you want to go as well. So, yeah, they would be 2 big lessons for me. I always say it's easy to say it, but like, enjoy the things you do, and I don't mean enjoy it every day, but like, if it's something that's taking a lot of time and energy from your life, make sure you are doing it for the right reasons as well.
Yes.
So, like rugby give me so much. Like, I'm so fortunate. I can look back on it and say how much it gave me, but I enjoyed it because of the perspective life away from rugby gave me. Like, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much if I hadn't fallen through a roof doing my plumbing qualification and realised how hard it was doing money plumbing. If I hadn't gone to do leadership management qualifications and seen what it's like in a corporate business world, if I hadn't gone down the route of having my own company and thinking, oh, it's quite hard to make these things work as well, that allowed me to enjoy rugby a lot more. And it's a strange thing to say, and like, everybody looks at me funny when I say it, but when I was 18 or 19, it must have been 19, we were playing the Junior World Cup, snapped my ACL, and I remember the doctor ringing me and saying, he's like, you sit down. I was like, I'll sit down now, tell me the news. And he's like, you're on your way to arthritis already. I was like, tidy, that's good, that's great then. And then from that point on, I was like, well, this career can be taken from me at any point, so enjoy it. And it was always like, I'm going to be ready, I'm going to do everything I can to be ready to retire from rugby at 30 if I need to, but I'm going to enjoy every point. And that didn't mean I enjoyed every week, it didn't mean I enjoyed every day, but as an overall perspective, it meant that when the going got tough, I was like, oh look, come on, just try and enjoy this because it's better than other things. So that perspective is like really, really important.
Perspective, isn't it? Well, as I say, when I change the way I look at the world around me changes.
Yeah, nice.
Because you are looking at, you've pulled all those tools, and instead of seeing them as negative things like, oh, why me, you went, oh my gosh, because of those I see this, because of those I see that. That's a huge mental...
and I think that, oh, why me is an interesting one, because that's the difference in sympathy and empathy as well. And I don't think that, I think a lot of the world now shows sympathy, not empathy, and that doesn't work. Like, we go, oh yeah, it is. It's really bad. It's so bad for you. I just don't know what you're going to do. Well, if you're telling me I just know what you're going to do, like, I'm clearly going to go, well, I can't do anything because it is really bad.
Not empowering.
Yeah, so how do we go, no, look, yeah, it is tough at the moment, but like, you've got my arm around you, like, how can I help you? How can I support you? So I think from a societal point of view, we've got to change from being sympathetic to empathetic.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people use sympathy because it makes them feel better about their life. So it's easier to put you
and
down around
how
bad it is.
I think it works hand in hand with a sort of victim mentality.
Yeah, it does, and goes opposite to growth mindset as well.
Yeah.
It's not empowering, is it? And then you've got to empower yourself, which when you've got your own power, you can do anything. Yeah, 100%. And I think as well, you don't want to rush those life lessons. Like, sit in them. It comes as a conversation to us when we're a few years older, because you've got time to reflect on it. Like, young kids don't need to know their life lessons straight away. Yeah. They don't need to know everything. They just need to know that they got support around them. So if they fail, they've still got people there. But they're safe.
Yeah, if they try something and it doesn't work for them. And the modern world with happiness as well, like, you see a kid not enjoy one football, rugby session, and then they get pulled out, oh, don't worry about going. Well, no, it might have just been that thing that they were doing on that day. They didn't enjoy it because they didn't play well on the weekend and they were very embarrassed to go and see their friends. That's fine. Like, let's push them through that, because at some point they're going to get refused from an interview. They're going to have a report in school that even though they put a lot of effort in, it still wasn't good enough. They're going to have
how to
those
deal
times.
with disappointment, isn't it? You know, being able to cope with those. uncomfortable emotions.
Yeah.
Cope with the uncomfortableness, isn't it? And we're all trying to avoid discomfort.
Yeah.
So learning kids that discomfort
Yeah.
is okay and it'll pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll move, it'll shift.
Yeah. And how do we, showing the younger generation whilst giving them the space is really important. I think that if we can show them how hard people train, how hard people have worked, but also say like you're gonna have failures. You're not gonna be the best for everything.
No.
But if something doesn't work out, that wasn't your path as well.
Yeah.
That is not your path.
Yeah.
So
you took something from it.
And it's a detour.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a lesson there and there's a detour and a different path for you.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
everything can help us grow. I'm not saying we like some of it, and I'm not being disrespectful, but there's something we can pull from everything, and we can say, okay, I learned that, I'll use that, I'll move with that, and it can be like a muscle in your armour.
Yeah.
I feel.
And be curious, isn't it? Be curious rather than resisting it. Being open and curious about what can I learn. So at the end of each session, we normally ask our guests to provide either an affirmation or an intention that our listeners can go for the week. So is there anything that you could share with our listeners today?
I think be conscious now about what changes you've made over the last couple of months and congratulate yourself for them. So a lot of the time we make changes and we don't think, I'm glad 3 months ago I did this, because it's part of our new routine, which is brilliant, but it also gives you time to reflect. And I think that if you've seen something in the last couple of months that looked like it was going to take you 2 hours, you've just gone, nah, I'm not going to do it. I think, well, what could I do in the spare time that I've got that might not be quite gold standard, but it'll be a little bit better than I'm doing today, because we've got to work with the life we've got. And
Absolutely.
the little changes actually make a significant difference.
Oh, they do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It all starts with that though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just starts with that tiny little change.
Boom.
Ripple effect.
Yeah, so doing that, don't make it too hard for yourself. Start in a way that works for you. We're all very different, and we all have very different ways of doing things. Just try them, isn't it? Try them and see how it works. This has been fabulous.
Yeah, thank you
really
so much.
Fabulous conversation. So let us know your thoughts on this. Message, tag us, share, subscribe. The world needs these conversations.
Yeah.
The world needs light, and be that light.
Thank you so much for being a light today.
You are very much a light.
Appreciate that. So and sending love to you all, and remember that you are awesome.
Always.
Sending love.